Sri Ashwani Kumar.
Thank you, sir. Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir, for giving me the opportunity to participate in this extremely important debate. Sir, I rise to speak not on behalf of a section or segment of a society. I rise to speak on behalf of the people of India, in the name of progress, prosperity, and the future of India, and in order to ensure that when history records our contribution, we will not be condemned for not doing the duty to the nation. Sir, it has been the glory of this House that all points of views are heard with respect, and then we leave it to the wisdom of the people of India through their representatives and by themselves to take the final call on the future of policies announced. Sir, understandably, there are strong views on either side of the aisle as regards the benefits of FDI in multi-brand retail. And I am not the one to say that those who oppose this for reasons uninformed by politics. They do so sometimes for reasons that are entirely political and perhaps not rooted in conviction. As far as our government is concerned, sir, we have taken a conscious decision to move ahead on the path of permitting FDI in the multi-brand retail. And there are very good reasons for our decision. Sir, opinion is always free, but facts are sacred. I would like to invoke, with the leave of the House, a few facts which, in my respectful submission, are compelling in themselves to persuade us to the view that at this stage of our economic development and growth, permitting FDI in multi-brand retail is a national imperative. So let me first take the cause of the farmers. A lot has been said to the effect that if we were to go ahead with the policy, our farmers would be negatively impacted. Sir, we know that India is the second largest producer of food grains, fruits and vegetables in the world. We also know, on the high authority of umpteen government reports, that almost 35 to 40% of our fruits and vegetables are destroyed every year, and our farmers lose up till 65,000 crores annually in terms of remuneration for their produce. One of the reasons for this is, sir, that our infrastructure facilities, our back-end facilities in the post-harvesting season are not adequate, and our transportation, our cold chains are not adequate to service the cause of the farmers. That is the reason, sir, that we thought that if we were to go ahead with permitting FDI and multi-brand retail, we would be able to enlist a significant amount of investment in the critical back-end infrastructure that would directly and positively impact the future of the farming community in this country. That is why, sir, when we formulated the policy, we made it a mandatory provision that 50% of the minimum investment of $100 million would be invested in these activities. For the last several years, this debate has been going on. In 2000, in February of 2000, the then cabinet and the NDA regime took a conscious view that FDI and multi-brand trade was necessary. This was reaffirmed by the then government report of November 2001, and compelling reasons and legitimate reasons were given in support of going ahead with that policy. Therefore, sir, there is nothing new in what is being sought to be done. It just so happens that there are moments in the life of a nation when certain decisions, for various reasons, get to be taken at a particular point of time, not later, not earlier. We thought that now that we were answerable to the people of India, we should do what is right by our conscience, what is right by the nation, and what would collectively advance the larger national project and the larger national goals. So we are today at a stage of our history that we need to reinvigorate every single policy decision that cumulatively and individually will lead to national renewal, progress, prosperity, and a better life of dignity with prosperity for all our citizens in larger freedom. We may be wrong. History may prove us to be wrong. But because you may get proven to be wrong at a later point of time is never an argument not to take bold decisions if the logic of the moment supports the policy decision. We have done exactly what the people of India have expected of us. Sir, I will now divert my attention to the argument that the farming community in India opposes the policy. No, sir. Nothing could be farther from the truth. I'll give you two examples, sir. The Bharatiya Kisan Union in Punjab, one of the largest Kisan unions, has supported it. The Swabhimani Shetkari Kisan Sangathan of Maharashtra has supported it. No farmers have taken to the roads against this policy because they know that sooner or later the direct and the immediate beneficiaries of this policy would be the farmers of India, the small farmers, the marginal farmers who do not have the means to store their produce, who do not have the means to transport their produce across geographical boundaries of states where the markets are. Therefore, sir, in my respectful submission, and I state so most humbly for your consideration, that the farming community of India will have everything to rejoice if in our wisdom, if in the collective wisdom of this House, we were to endorse this policy. Now, sir, Bharti Walmart is an example. This has been talked about, Walmart has been talked about. But they have entered into a collaboration, and today 6,000 small farmers across 6 states are in joint venture with this company. I ask myself the question, sir, were there such opportunities before in this country ever? The answer would be a resounding no. Take, for instance, sir, now the cause of the small manufacturers. It is said that this policy would lead to the erosion of the competitive advantage of the small manufacturers. Quite the contrary, sir. At least 30% of the procurement of manufactured products are required to be sourced from small industries as per the policy stipulation. Why did we do that? We were not unmindful of the fact that we needed to protect our small manufacturers for a point of time. So we made it compulsory by law that 30% of all products that will be procured by these by the chains will have to be domestically sourced. The result would be, it would not only give them that cushion, it would exponentially enhance the manufacturing base through the small-scale sector in this country, which is the largest employer, thereby also exponentially increasing the employment opportunities for our youth, particularly in the rural, semi-urban and urban areas. So we all know, and this is not new, that the largest employer after agriculture in this country is the small-scale sector. This is a policy that would also positively impact the growth of the small-scale sector. Now, sir, I turn my attention to the fact, a lot has been said about China and Walmart. Few people would know, sir, and I know it from high authority, from official reports, that China today accounts for over 60% of Walmart's global procurement. My good friend Maitreyan, for whom I have the greatest respect, said that this was not the case. My figures tell me a contrary story. Walmart went to China 20 years ago. After 20 years, it has only 350 stores and still accounts for merely 5% of the total retail trade in China. After 20 years, 350 stores and 5% of the market in China. But what did it do for China in return? It procures 60% of its global procurement all over the world. And we know Walmart is the largest company in the world from China. And who gets benefited? the Chinese who produce those goods. So, sir, whichever way you look at it, from whichever angle you look at it, from the perspective of the small manufacturer, from the perspective of a small trader, from the perspective of the farmer, this policy, sir, collectively would inure for the benefit of the country as a whole. Take now, sir, the case of the benefit to the consumers. How does the consumer benefit? We have those dollar stores in America. They loudly proclaim that anything under the sun can be procured for $1. It is not that the American produce it for $1, but because you give to the consumer, the buyer, a range of choice. And the range of choice of a buyer and consumer, sir, we all know when we go to the market, is determined both by quality and the price. A reasonably good product at a reasonable price is the mantra of the market. And these chains, FDI in organized retail, is what will ensure the range of choice for the consumers. And therefore, sir, the ultimate beneficiary in this country will be the consumers, and there will be the 100 crore people of India. Now, sir, the intermediary costs. We know that from the farm to the market, or from the factory to the consumer, there are endless number of intermediaries, and they add to the pricing structure, which in turn impacts on the competitiveness of the Indian economy. We therefore also subserve a larger national purpose, namely introducing an element of competitiveness in our economy, which to my mind, sir, over a period of time would be one of the most critical utilities of this policy. So in terms of numbers, I'm told, sir, that today the organized retail in India is only 4% of the total retail, whereas the potential is about 12 to 15%.
Minutes.
Now, sir, if we are talking of 12 to 15% of retail trade, or in terms of the size of our economy, which is today $1.8 trillion, we are, sir, today the 10th largest economy of the world. In 10 or 15 years, some of the reports suggest we could become the 5th largest consumer economy of the world. Now, please extrapolate the figures, $1.8 trillion. And if we can take the retail trade from 4% to 14% by encouraging organized retail, please see what that would add to India's GDP. I'm told almost 2%. So, sir, if you were to extrapolate the GDP growth numbers, also complemented by the incoming foreign investment that can then go into the back-end structures, I think overall, every segment of India's economy stands to gain by this policy. Sir, I have mentioned about the segments that are going to be impacted. This is a case that has been amply made out, and I think the few figures that I have pointed out would further consolidate the view and validate the view that in its entirety, the policy would positively impact on the economy of the country and inure for the benefit of Aam Aadmi. Sir, even so, we took precautions. As against China, Brazil, Thailand, Russia, Indonesia, Chile, Singapore, Argentina, who permit 100% FDI in retail, we have started with caution. We have permitted only 51%. That also to give an ease of functioning to the foreign investor and the comfort and of security of his investment. We have also stipulated that only those cities, and there are 53, which have a population of 10 lakhs and more, will in the first instance be serviced by this policy, except some exceptionally small states for which some exception has been made. We have also, sir, ensured that the states will have overall superintendence in terms of regulating the trade. We have made or given to the people of India an enabling architecture, not imposing our decision on states, consistent with the federal principle, but only given to the states an enabling architecture which, if they so desire in their wisdom, will enable them to introduce the retail trade in their states. Sir, something was said about change of mind in terms of policy on our side. So nations do not remain static, either in terms of their thought processes or in terms of the necessities that confront them. At a given point of economic development, a policy which is not sustainable is rejected, and at another point of the nation's economic development, a policy that is considered at that time to be imperative is adopted. That is why, through a process of rational decision-making, we move the nations forward. That is the mandate that the people of our country give to governments every 5 years, and the least that we are expected to do is to vindicate their trust in our judgment for their future. This is what we have done. Sir, I implore this august House, which has wisdom spread across the benches and across the party spectrum. I implore you, sir, and the House through you, sir, that this is a policy that is in overarching national interest. There are moments when all of us are expected to rise above partisan politics in order to move the nation ahead. Let us not look at our future from the prism of the past. We can't do so, sir. There is a continuum between the past, present, and the future. But our future would be what our present determines, not what the past has been in the past. We are no longer a fledgling economy. We are amongst the largest economies of the world, growing at the largest rates. We are no banana republic. We know how to safeguard our interests. A responsive government, a government committed to Aam Aadmi's welfare, a government committed to national renewal will, sir, I have no doubt, ensure at all times that the larger interests of the poorest of the poor are always protected. And before I conclude, sir, I would like to say only one thing. Sushma ji said, sir, in the other house yesterday, तारीख ने देखे हैं कुछ ऐसे भी लम्हे, कुछ ऐसे भी घड़ियां, लम्हों ने खता की थी, सदियों ने सजा पाई. I would like to repeat what she said there. Let us not fail this moment. For if we fail now, we will have to repent for a very long time. Sir, the nation has a right to its future. The nation has a right to move forward. And sir, politics cannot become an exercise in evasion. We need to tell the people of India the truth. I am here standing on behalf of my government and the people of India, through you, sir, through this august House, to tell the people of India the truth as I see it. And the truth is that this policy will determine the future of India. And sir, I will conclude by just one share which I have read in another context, which was read in UP but which is apt here. So when history is recorded, future generations can well ask of us, you had it within you to decide correctly. Why did you not do so? Did you do so only for political expediency? Did you fail us in order to subserve your political purposes? We should then be able to say with a resounding no. And we should all collectively be able to say that we kept faith with the people of India. And sir, the share goes like this, tu idhar udhar ki na baat kar. They will ask us, tu idhar udhar ki na baat kar, ye bata ke kafile kyun lute? हमें राहजन से गरज नहीं, तेरी रहबरी का सवाल है, हमारी रहबरी का सवाल है. And I am here finally to say, sir, we will be true to the trust and the faith reposed by the people of India. Thank you very much, sir.
No.